Braimoh Bello joins us. He is a university lecturer and also the founder of, founder, president, the same thing, Beyond Tomorrow. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, from taking a look at this sector, one wonders how do we approach it? How do we go about challenging or sorting this challenge we've got on our hands? You lecture.
Yeah.
What's your experience and what you've seen when you lecture outside the country and here?
I think there's a big difference, between what obtains here and what obtains in South Africa, in many ways, and I would imagine that our desire and our goal, what we're crying for, is to move from where we are to a position where we are comparable to other countries, at least to more developed countries. And when you ask me what the difference is, I could take it from different directions, from different angles, But I would say whether you're looking at the quality of education, or you're looking at the quality of lecturers, you're looking at the curriculum, or you're looking at the facilities and the infrastructure you have in those universities, I think we're quite behind, and we will do well to identify the problems we have holistically and work towards providing solutions to the different problems.
Can there be anything that could be described as taking one step, or is going to be various steps all in one to address this problem?
Of course, you cannot get to your destination in one day, but you can change your direction in a day. So once there's some value in taking one step at a time. But however, I believe that any kind of intervention that's going to work for education in this country has got to be holistic. It's got to be well thought through. The different factors and problems that are in the system have got to be well understood and put together in a model, in a framework to solve what the solve what the problems are.
Because you talked about infrastructural challenge. Yes, we do know that we don't rank so well in terms of budgetary allocations to education. I think South Africa is about, they spend a little less than 25% of their budgetary allocation in education, and then they've got an infrastructure. But some have recommended here that if you are to start with infrastructure, it may not be the right approach. Start with personnel, encouraging them, welfare, before infrastructure. What would your recommendations be?
I strongly, first of all, you're right. In terms of our budgetary allocation, we are nowhere near what the UN recommends, about 25% of your annual budget. I think we're on about 8 to 9% of our annual budget.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we rank below Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and South Africa that you mentioned. Whether it's in terms of percentage or in terms of actual monetary value that we budget for education, I think we are far from what we should be. And that shows that there is a problem in terms of leadership. We still do not see, we haven't yet seen education as the bedrock of our national development. Any country that want to make meaningful progress has got to take education as a core, as a central element of its spendings, and Nigeria is not there yet. That's why I say that we need something that's holistic. We cannot begin to talk about infrastructure without talking about the individuals that run the system. And also, we cannot talk about the individuals that run the system without providing for them an enabling environment for them to do the quality job they should be doing. So I think the intervention that we should be having in place should be comprehensive and holistic.
I think it brings to mind what Professor Awosika has just said when she talked about the lecturers and attitudes. We were trying to be more practical about it, and we had to ask her because she started from home here before she went to the United States. And you also started from home here before you went outside the country. What is the difference in what we give to our students here in Nigeria that is quite unique to the extent that when they get out there, they still can sustain it? Or rather, is it a case of the old times we are better than what we have now?
I think the old times were definitely better than what we had now. Than what we have now. A few years ago, the University of Ibadan was ranked as one of the top 100 universities in the world. At the moment, we are not even in the global ranking.
And that was before the oil boom, by the way.
Exactly. At the moment, we are not even in the global ranking, in the top 500 or top 1,000 universities in the world.
We suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, we've disappeared. We're nowhere, even in the continent. I think universities from South Africa, from Egypt, from Ghana, you see them in the list, and our universities do not show up. So I do agree that, of course, we cannot probably just cash out all the billions we need to transform our universities. And attitude is important. The attitude, like the professor who was here just now spoke about, the attitude of our lecturers, the attitude of the people who run the system is important. We can talk about the system, we can talk about structures in place, but we need to remember that it's the people who put the system in place, and it's the people who determine the system, and it's also the people who run the system. Now, when you ask me what the difference is between what's obtainable here and what's obtainable in South Africa, at least where I have been for a couple of years, and of course I have done degrees in the United Kingdom and done degrees in the Netherlands, I would say that, first of all, the curriculum is not up to date. The curriculum is not up to date.
How do you mean?
Our curriculum is not relevant. Not
entirely though.
Not entirely, but by and large, our curriculum is not up to date, especially in the sciences, especially in engineering, especially in fields that require that require infrastructure. In Nigeria, we still have lecturers who teach with lecture notes that they taught with 5 years ago. I update my lecture note every year. The lecture notes that I gave to my students last year is not the same lecture notes that I'm giving to my students this year. In Nigeria, you have lecturers who still use the lecture notes that their professors gave to them about 10 years ago. So the lecture notes are not updated, the curriculum is not relevant, so as a result, we create a gap between the graduates that we produce and the needs of the industry.
Why do you think that is so? Do you think that is so because the lecturers don't know any better, or is it just sheer laziness, or they don't know that they're supposed to update it, or they have no other way, or they have no way of updating it in the very first instance?
I think it's a multiplicity of factors, of those factors. I think it's the fact that our lecturers are sheer lazy. I think by and large, I'm not going to make a blanket statement. I think by and large, our lecturers are lazy. In fact, when I think about how ASU or Nigerian system, the Nigerian university system gets money from the government, it's not based on performance. That's not obtainable in developed countries. In South Africa, for example, for every master's student that the university graduates, you get about 1.4 million naira in naira terms. For every PhD student that the university graduates, you get about 6 million naira. So I think if the universities are going to be getting money from the government, it should be based on performance. Our lecturers, by and large, are not hardworking. I mean, they're lazy, and the attitude is wrong. And I think that has got to change if we want to move forward. And we do not need to have 1.2 trillion naira budgeted to achieve something like that. ASU and the people who run the system need to come together and say we need a change in the way we think. I also know that for every scientific publication that I bring out there, I know how much comes into my research funds. So as a matter of fact, our lecturers need to have a change of attitude. There needs to be what we call a new era. There needs to be a new way of doing things. There needs to be new thinking.
Would you say it's laziness or a lack of incentives? I mean, for you to be productive?
I think it's both ways. It's the same lecturers who are lecturers today that become, President Jonathan was a lecturer a few years ago, and today he's there. It's the same thing. The essential problem we have in Nigeria, as with many other factors, as with many other problems in our national life, is the human resources, the people who drive the system. It's essentially the same. Our lecturers are lazy. The people who get into power, who get into the place of authority, whether it's the NUC or the Ministry of Education, they should be creating an incentivized system that encourages performance.